Hey guys, it's Thomas here with Technovision and welcome back to our JDA tutorial series. Now in this episode we're going to be talking about slash commands, and we are not going to talk about text commands because Discord has actually discontinued support for them. So we are going to use the brand new system, the slash command system, which is much easier to use and is actually directly integrated right into Discord. Before we get started, I just want to preface by saying that even though I'm going to show you how slash commands work by showing you some examples, the way I'm going to show you is not how you should actually implement your slash commands in a production bot. I will show you in the next few episodes how to create a command manager, which is able to manage hundreds or potentially even thousands of commands, and it'll be much more effective and efficient. But the way I'm going to show you now is just a way for us to sort of get started seeing how slash commands work and how you can actually use them. So let's get started by going over to our package manager over here, and in our main sort of package, our tutorial bot package, we want to create a new package, and we're going to name this commands. And just like you would expect, this is going to store all of our commands pretty much. You could also put this in listeners if you wanted to, because we are going to make a listener right now, but it's just a little bit cleaner in my opinion to make a separate category for commands. So we're going to create a new Java class, and we're going to call this command manager. You can obviously name it whatever you want, but this makes the most sense to me. And we're going to make sure that this extends that class that we extend for all of our listeners, which is listener adapter. And this will make sure that this class, again, has access to pretty much all of the events that JDA provides us. So just like a normal event class, we can come up to, again, code and override methods or Control O, and we can override all of these events here. But the one we're specifically interested in is on slash command integration or interaction rather, on slash command interaction. So we can hit OK, and that will give us this little event here. And this event will fire pretty much anytime a slash command is run. Now what we can do in here is actually grab the name of the command that was run and check if that command name is equal to any of our commands. And if it is, then we can do something. So just to show you here, let's make a string command variable, and we're going to set this equal to the event.getName. So this method here will actually get the name of the command that was run. So if you were running a command that was called like /hello, then this variable would be set to this, hello. So we can take this command name and we can check if it equals something specific. So if commands.equals, you could also do equals ignore case, I guess, whichever one you want. If this equals our command, then we can actually do something in this if statement. So very basic, but let's say that we wanted our command to be /welcome, right? This is going to be a command /welcome. And this is going to, I just want to make a basic command that just says welcome to the server pretty much with your username. So we would check if this command is equal to /welcome. And you don't include the slash in there. You do not include the prefix, just the command name, so welcome. And this will fire pretty much if the command was /welcome. So if that's the case, then what we can do is let's get the user tag. So string user tag is equal to events. And just like any event, you can get all sorts of information here. So we could get the user that ran this slash command, and then we could get their name as a tag. So yeah, let's get the user tag, and then we want to reply with a message, right? So what we would do is event dot, and then we can reply with dot reply. And there are several options here. We'll talk about embeds in another video. We'll also talk about file attachments as well later on, and modals. But for right now, we're just going to talk about string replies. So you can dot reply here and send any message you want pretty much. This will reply directly to the command that was being run. So we could type, for example, welcome to the server, and then we could type their name, so plus user tag, plus, and then an exclamation mark. And we could also maybe make their name bold by adding 2 stars here, just like you would with Discord markup. Okay, so now that we replied, you're gonna notice we're gonna get that warning again that we've talked about before, that the result is ignored. And again, this is because this is an action we're asking Discord to do. So when we reply to a command, we always have to .queue it up, because again, this is an action that we're asking Discord to do for us. So now we have a command that will run in this if statement. It will run the /welcome command. but we need to make sure that we actually register this command to our bots. Otherwise, it's not going to know that this is even a slash command that exists. So the first thing we want to do is, because this is a listener adapter, let's go over to tutorial bot here, and let's make sure that we are adding this event listener. Remember, every time we make an event listener class, we have to add it to our shard manager or your JDA, whichever one you're using. Otherwise, it will not actually listen for events in here. So go to your main bot class, and we can just add next to our event listener a new command manager object there. Okay, cool. So we've added the event listener, but we still have another step. So we need to actually register the command itself. Since we were just registering the listener adapter here, we need to register the command itself to the bots. And there are two ways you can actually do this. So there are guild commands, and I'll just type this out here. There are guild commands, and this will register the commands to the actual guild itself. So every individual guild that you specify, I guess, will receive this command. These are great because they update pretty much instantly, and as soon as you run the bot, you can try them out. They're great for testing. However, I'll write here, instantly updated. However, there is also a max of 100. So you cannot have more than, I'm pretty sure it's 100 guild commands. So yeah, that's kind of important to keep in mind. But there's also another option as well. You can also have global commands. Now, just like you would expect, a global command will work on all guilds. You don't have to register it to a specific guild or all guilds. You can just set it once and it will work across every single guild. This is great for production, pretty much whenever your bot is actually running on real servers. It does take, though, up to an hour to update. And this is because it actually has to go through Discord's system, and they need to actually update it for all the guilds that are using your bots. So this can take up to an hour to update. It's really frustrating to test this out with, and I really do not recommend that you do that. But it is great because it has an unlimited amount of commands that can be run, to my knowledge. So yeah, you'll have to choose between which one you want to do. Both are great, both have different purposes, but I would recommend that you start out with guild commands, make all of your commands and register them as guild commands, and then once you are done testing, and once you know for a fact that the commands you have made are the ones you want, then you can register them as global commands. But again, either system works fine, so whichever one you want to use. I'm going to show you both right now, just so that you have options. So let's first show you how to register guild commands. So if you want to register these on a specific guild or on all guilds, you're going to listen for the, let's go over here to override methods or Control O. You want to listen for the on guild ready event. Hit OK. And this is going to pretty much fire every time a guild is loaded up in your bots. So on startup, whenever your bot is in a bunch of guilds, it's going to go through each guild and it's going to load them up into the bot, all of the data for that guild. So once a specific guild is ready being loaded, it will fire this event pretty much. And so we can actually register our guild commands here by first creating a list. And we can make this list here. I'll show the type in a bit, but we're just going to call it commands data. And this is just going to be equal to a new array list. And this is going to hold a special JDA type called command data. And just like you would expect from the name, here, let me import this real quick. Just like you would expect from the name, this is going to store data for your commands. So we're going to register each individual command pretty much into this list, and then we're going to send it off to our bot to register. So to add a command, to register this /welcome command, for example, we would do command data .add, so we would add it to the list, and we would add a command data object. Now to get this object, you have to use a little factory method here called commands./ and this will create a slash command, and it just takes in a name and a description. Pretty basic. So we would type in the name of the command, in our case welcome, because again, remember our command here, we're listening for a command called welcome, so we want to register one with the same name. And then for the description, we can just type anything you want for your description of that command. So send or get welcomed by the bots. Great, and then we can add a semicolon here. So this is going to add this command, this slash command to our list here. And if we want to actually register it to our guild here, the specific guild, we can do events.getGuild dot update commands. And if you were to just do this, this would actually clear all commands for this guild. But if you want to add a specific command, you could do dot add commands, and you could either add a command data object, or in our case, we're just going to be adding a list full of them. I just feel like that's a lot easier to sort of manage. So we can do add commands, and we can throw our lists in there, our command data list in there, command data. And because this is an action we're asking Discord to do, we're asking it to update our commands for this guild. We have to .queue it, of course. And yeah, and you don't have to use this list. Like I said, this is just an easier way, in my opinion, to do it. But you could just throw in the actual command data object in here and have several of them separated by a comma. It's important to keep in mind though that this event, if you read the documentation, will actually only fire, I believe, when a guild is loaded up on startup. So this is not going to include guilds where your bot is added to the guild after you have actually started it up. So if we were to run this and we were to add our bot to a different server, it probably would not get these commands. So we would actually need to override another event here with code override methods. And we're going to override the on guild join event as well. And you would actually have to register the same commands. You'd have to register all of them in here as well. You definitely would not want to copy and paste and reuse code like this. This is really bad, but you'd hopefully do this somewhere else, and then you'd put it in a list that you could use for both of these. But again, I'm going to talk about a command manager system in the next few episodes, which will make this a lot cleaner. But yeah, just know that if you want to also add those commands to guilds that are joined later on, not just on bot startup, then you will need to register them in both of these. But this is fine for now, since this is not a production bot. If another thing I should mention is this is going to fire on guild ready, of course, all guilds. But if you wanted to, you could check for a specific guild, like if events dot get guild, and you could get the guild's unique ID. So get ID, and you can get their ID here. Let's see, is there an ID long? Yeah, get their ID in long form. And you could actually check if it's equal to a specific ID. So like I could go to Discord and I could right click on my Technobot support server, copy the ID, and we could check if, these are the same, add an L there because it's a long. And if this is a specific guild that we're looking for, then we could register special commands for them. So this is one perk of guild commands, is that you can register or not register specific commands to specific guilds if for whatever reason you want to do that. But we are just going to do all guilds for right now. So let's actually test this out now with our run button here, or again, you can right click on your main class and hit run, and it's going to start up. Let's make sure there's no errors. There we go. So now let's go to Discord, go to your little server you made here to test your bots. And if we hit slash, the character slash, it should come up with a menu here where you can see other bots. So we have a Me6 here because we added him in the last episode, I believe. You want to go to your bot here, tutorial bot, and you can see all of the commands that we've created. So this is the only command we've created, this /welcome command. But it does say our description here, get welcomed by the bots. And if we run it, so we can click it and we can hit enter. There we go. It did reply directly to our command saying welcome to the server and our name. So everything is working great, and it means that our commands are actually being registered. So now I'm going to show you how you can actually register that same command as a global command now. And you wouldn't want to do both of these at the same time, of course, because it would duplicate the command. You would have two of the same. But I'm just going to show you so you have both options here. To actually register it as a global command, we need to add the commands to our JDA rather than the actual guild itself. So we're going to override a different method here. We're going to code override a method called onReady. And this event here in particular is going to fire when our bot, when JDA itself is actually ready. So when everything is kind of fully loaded. So what we want to do is the same thing here. We got our list here, our list of command data. We want to register or add each command to the list. So same exact thing. And then instead of getting our guild and updating commands, we're going to do the same thing but with JDA. So we're going to do events dot get JDA dot update commands, and just like last time, we're going to do the same thing, dot add commands, and you could either throw in your command data objects or a list of them. And in our case, we're throwing in our list, so command data list. And we're going to .queue that up, of course, because it is an action. So pretty much exactly the same as guild commands. The only difference is you only need one event instead of several, and you're going to use this JDA object instead of a guild object. So let's test this out by actually running the bot again, and we should actually see a duplicate of both commands because we are registering as a guild command and a global command. You wouldn't want to do this, but just to show you here, if we hit slash, there we go, we have two actual commands here. And remember that these global commands can take up to an hour, sometimes even longer to actually update. So if you don't see it, that's why. Give it some patience, and it should pop up eventually. So next I want to talk about deferred replies, and we're going to come back up here to our on/command interaction. So in order to demonstrate this, we're going to make another command, and again, you could add several to this. This isn't the way you would want to do it long term, but you could just check another if statement here with else if, and you could check for another command. So we're going to make a command here called /roles that just shows all of the available roles on a server pretty much. So again, we want to do commands dot equals. In this case, we're trying to do the run the /roles command, so we would just type roles, and anything that we run inside of here will be run when this command is executed. So this is going to run the /roles commands. Okay, so what I want to talk about here, this deferred reply. So basically in a / command, once the command is executed, so at the start of this this event here, you have a maximum of 3 seconds to respond. And by respond, I mean reply. You have 3 seconds to send a reply, otherwise the whole command will shut down and you'll just get an error pretty much in Discord. And we can actually do something to circumvent this. If you, for whatever reason, were going to create a command that takes several seconds to run, then this would be what you would want to use. So we can do event.deferReply, and we can .queue this up. And again, this will, like I said, this will actually make it so that Discord waits longer than 3 seconds. I don't know how long it waits, but I'm pretty sure it's a very long time. It definitely can last for, at least 10, maybe even 20 seconds. So yeah, if you're gonna make something like an API request or anything that takes a really long time to do, maybe you're trying to get a ton of data from a database, like millions of documents, then you definitely want to use event.deferReply, because otherwise you're not going to be able to execute your command in time within 3 seconds maybe, and it will all fail on you. So yeah, once you run this, we can actually continue on with our commands. And when you actually defer reply here, you can no longer use events.reply. And the reason for this is that there's another rule of / commands that you can only ever reply once to a command. So if we were to defer reply here, this is considered a reply. We are replying to Discord saying, hey, it's taking us some time, wait more than 3 seconds for us to respond. So we actually can't use this anymore. We need to use a different method called .getHook. And now we can respond using this. So we could do .send message. And just like reply, there was reply embeds and reply files and all this stuff. Same thing here, it's just named something else. In this case, it's called send message. So we would do events.getHook.send message, and we would throw in like our message and then queue it up. So yeah, sorry if this is a little confusing, it is a little weird, but essentially there's only one reply per / command, and if you are deferring the reply, if you want to wait more than 3 seconds before we respond, then we will actually have to use this hook instead. So very important to keep in mind, but let's actually do something fun with this command as an example. So again, we want to show all of the roles in the server, so let's create a string response that we're going to send to the server, to the command rather, as a response. And we're going to loop through all the roles in our guild. So we're going to do a for loop here. Let's get a role objects, and we can import this. And this is a Discord role from JDA. And we can grab all of the roles from our server to actually loop through them with events dots. And if we use .getGuild, this will actually get the guild that this / command was run in, just like how we use .getUser to get the user that run that command. Same sort of thing, but we're getting the guild here. So .getGuild, and then dots, and with that guild object, there's so much stuff you can do here. Oh my god, there's so many things. You can get just infinite amounts of data pretty much, but in our case, we want to get roles. So .get roles, and this will get a list of roles pretty much. So we're looping through all of the roles in our server, and we're just going to add to our response string pretty much. We're going to get the role as a mention, so role.get as mention, and this is going to sort of put the messages like at and then the role name. So at, let's say our role is the sexy role, we could do at sexy like that. So this is going to get the mention, and then let's add a new line character just so that our message looks nice. So this is pretty basic Java, of course, but just as an example of some fun stuff you can do with commands. So we're going to send our response now. Instead of this stupid placeholder message, we're going to actually send our response. And yeah, so just to recap, this is going to, we wouldn't need it for this specific use case, but just as an example, this would wait longer than 3 seconds if necessary to run our commands, and then it would send this response. So let's actually run our, oh wait, before we run our command, very important, you will have to also register any new commands you create. So just like we did with our welcome command, we'll come down here, do commands data.add, and another slash command, so commands.slash, and again, we want to use that name there, same name for our command, so in this case roles, and a description. So for our description, I'm just going to put display all roles on the server. And yeah, nothing else we need to do because we're adding the full list of commands here again. We're registering the full list, so we've already added it to the list. I'm not going to add it as a global command because I don't want to duplicate. I just wanted to show you this as an example. So let's actually run the command now, or run the bot rather is what I meant to say. And go to Discord and hit slash on your keyboard. And there we go, we have the roles command, and it does say the correct description. And if we run it, there we go, it does show all of the roles perfectly. Another fun option we have with commands is that we can actually set a message as being ephemeral. Now an ephemeral message is pretty much a message that is only sent to the person who ran the commands. No one else will see it. It'll be totally invisible to the rest of the server except for that user. So this can be great for error messages if you only want them to see the error message, or for games where you want people to make decisions that no one else can see. There's so many opportunities with this, but just to show you, when you're actually replying to an object directly, so no defer reply for this command here, what you would do is after the reply, you would do .set ephemeral, and you would set this to true. And of course, you could set this to false if you wanted to, but there's not really any point to doing that because messages are by default not ephemeral. So really, we're just going to set this to true. And this will, like you would expect, set this message to be ephemeral. So we can run our bot here. And now when we run these /welcome commands, /welcome, you can see that this is an ephemeral message. And you can tell because it says here, only you can see this. And there's a little eye emoji here. And you can actually dismiss this message. So you can get rid of it entirely by clicking dismiss. So that's an ephemeral message, and it just allows you to send a secret message to that user. We also could use this in our defer reply response here, but it's a little bit different. If you were to add here to the end of this getHook.send message, you can, it says here, set ephemeral to true, but this actually will not work for whatever reason. I don't even know why it's really an option since it doesn't work at all. But what you'll have to do instead is actually set the ephemeral on the defer reply. So we'll have to come up here to event.deferReply.setEphemeral to true. And this will make all messages after this defer reply ephemeral. And we can go ahead and see that in action by actually running our bot again and just really quickly showing you that if we actually run /roles here, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, as you type the command, it actually can auto-complete for you. But yeah, /roles, and just like the last command, it is ephemeral. We can dismiss it, so it's working perfectly. All right, so that's gonna do it for our introduction to / commands. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the next episode, we're gonna talk about command options, which will allow you to do something like this if we just check this out with Me6. So Me6 has a command called /anime, for example, and you actually can add additional options here, like searching for a specific anime movie, and we're gonna show you how to actually do that in the next episode. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you soon.